And today, I am honored to introduce our next guest and my friend, Cherry Pfau. Now, Cherry has been a nurse for years, and she's amazing. She's had some masters. She's a lifelong learner, too, by the way. She has a Master of Science in Nursing with a board certification as an advanced holistic nurse. That is pretty big credentials right there. She's an integrative health coach with professional training certificate from Duke Integrative Medicine. And she's a NES health bioenergetic practitioner, a healing touch practitioner, and a Reiki master and teacher. She's a level 2 certified aromatherapist. Wow, wow, wow. Welcome, Cherry. This is such an honor and a pleasure to have you on our podcast today. And I know you have a lot of pearls of wisdom because you have your hands like your tentacles in every little space of different modalities to help people heal. So I want to mention you've been in nursing a long time. And I'm just curious as to how you got into holistic modalities. I know you had you were very fond of your grandmother, as I recall.
Yes. Yes. So my grandmother was a fabulous woman. She was a farm wife, and she knew everything there was to know about plants, for one thing, and cooking. She was a great cook. But she lived to be 103, and she rarely saw a physician, rarely. So she was really good at taking care of herself, which is the model I would like to follow. And as far as getting into holistic health, I started my career as a critical care nurse. And as some of you may know, that's a pretty rough way to go sometimes. And I honestly was pretty burned out after about 10 years. And a friend of mine invited me to go to the American Holistic Nurses Association conference. And I went. And ever since then, I have been passionate about holistic nursing. I found my tribe. God. I tell people that's where my tribe was.
Oh, wow. And of course, you and I have had many discussions having shared that critical care nursing background. Oh, my goodness. Now, you've used many modalities in the past.
I have.
And I know I've benefited from some of them too. The healing touch, the Reiki, the biometric scanner, right? Is that what it's called?
Bioenergetic scanner, yes.
Yeah, bioenergetics. And I'd love to hear not only a little bit about that and what you're doing now and what you're working on to help women.
So right now I'm pretty passionate about helping women in the second half of their life. And honestly, I bring most of that background into that. It's sort of a combination of wellness education, energy healing, and coaching. Because what I find today is that women in the second half of life are sort of facing a lot of challenges. Invisibility, people don't notice them as much anymore. Loneliness, their kids are gone, moved out of the house. And just, maybe not working anymore, and so don't have a lot to do to keep themselves engaged. So those are the women I want to talk to, because after my journey with cancer 16 years ago now, it's a long time, as I recovered from that, I learned a great deal about fatigue and, just feeling like you have brain fog all the time and just not motivated. And so I learned a lot on my own. I made myself the guinea pig and I tried lots of things. And I sort of figured out what works so that you can have energy even into your later years. And, and of course, as you know, food has a big part in that. I'm pretty passionate about eating healthy and whole, fresh, clean food. But again, I just bring a lot of things to it. I really want those women to have a life of zest and vitality. up until the end, honestly.
That's wonderful. And I know energy is something women lose. That's the first thing they lose, right?
Yeah.
And tell me a little bit if somebody comes to you really fatigued,
Mm.
what is the first place you look or the first tool you use?
So I usually get a good assessment first, because I need to know what they're doing that might be causing that fatigue. Um, and and I really like to personalize my approach to each person I work with. So, it depends on what in our conversation, what I think might be behind that fatigue. I do often use my Nest Health bioenergetic scanning as a way of identifying root causes. It's very good. I've been doing it now for almost 7 or 8 years, and it's really good at getting to the cause of physical symptoms. So, and a lot of times your energetic system is what's under all of that. And that's where we end up having to go first, is to, clear up and balance their energy.
So now you said something about scanning, Randy. Now,
Yeah.
how do you do that you don't have a brick and mortar place, right?
No.
You're doing everything online like the rest of us.
I do something.
So
Yeah.
I'm sure there are other things and other modalities you may do in person, but the scan is very interesting, and it's probably hard for our audience to understand how in the world could you possibly scan somebody virtually and get out and actually get a correct report.
Right. So it goes back to frequencies. And when I first started, we had a hand scanner. It looked kind of like a big mouse. That was sort of a biofeedback device. So we scanned the frequencies on the skin of the hand. Now, because of wonderful technology, they have created a way to scan using the voice frequencies. And so I can do that online quite easily. And I've done both. So I kind of feel like I feel like both of them are just as accurate. And it like takes 10 seconds. It's very simple. Very simple. All
I
you have to
think
do is
it's
count
one
down.
of, yeah, I'm sorry.
No.
It's one of the most fascinating things to me is to see that you're getting, and because you've compared doing the scan in person and doing it virtually, that you have shown the same result.
Yeah.
And what if, say somebody comes to you and they have migraines, for instance?
Okay.
Just going to take that as an example.
Okay.
How would you see that on a scan? I mean, this is great.
Yeah. So, boy, that's a long discussion. But basically, the scan looks at 155 different things. And one of the things it looks for is physical things associated with our organ system and also a meridian system. So the way energy flows in the body. So migraines could come from either one of those. They could come from a physical condition. They could also come from a lack of energy flow to a certain place, like their brain. So again, the scan would help define which of those we're looking at.
I find that so fascinating. Now, if you say somebody comes to you and you really see some, big red flags, what do you coach them on? I mean, how do you begin that whole process and the healing?
So initially, what I like to do is go through each item on the scan with them in a virtual, meeting room. And I spend a lot of time on the first one explaining what all those things mean. And the scan has a way of prioritizing each item. So, and it's color coded, so it's really simple to just look at it and figure it out. So, and it happens to be purple is like high priority items, and it has like bars. So if you have 4 purple bars, you have a very, challenging issue on your hands in that particular area. And at the end, the scan does it does sort of a 50,000 foot view of the whole scan, and it shows you exactly where things are, what challenges you have in priority. And then we decide based on patterns, where do we start? Which one do we start with?
And then that starts your whole coaching experience as to how you can help them heal themselves, more or less, right?
More or less, yes. Yes. And a lot of it's getting their energy flowing again. Because of our world that is so digital and so we're constantly sitting in front of a device or holding one in our hands. We're very distracted. So that has something to do with
I will agree with that. I think technology is a constant for sure.
It is.
When you have people sort of addicted to devices, people just feel like they can't live without the phone. They just can't live without the phone. How do you, without being taking something away from them, how do you approach that? Because I think that's a big red hot spot.
Well, some people, when they see in their scan that electromagnetic frequencies are purple and 4 bars of purple, then we start a conversation about how exposed are you, right? Like, do you have big high power lines near your house? Do you have a cell tower near your house? How many devices are you working with at one time? And they almost self-regulate themselves when they see what it's doing to them. Then they realize they have to spend some time away from that stuff. And there are things they can do to mitigate it. Like if they live somewhere that has a lot of EMF, there's things you can do for that. And we talk about all that. And it's always their decision what they want to do. So I give them lots of ideas and suggestions. They do what they want to do.
That's magnificent. What are some of the modalities that you use as far as, you have the scanner to do the assessment. Mm-hmm. What other things do you do? Sorry, my voice went out. I apologize. Okay. What other modalities do you do to help them heal? I know you do the coaching, which is heavy duty and the most important thing.
I do coaching, but I also do energy work. So, and I can do long distance energy work with them not physically present with me. I do know how to do that. And I may also suggest like a supplement or a change in their diet or a change in their hydration status. Wellness is a huge thing. Everybody knows it's everywhere now. And I basically have a little handout that I start with. It's called 5 Daily Energy Habits. And so they can have that. It's free. I just give it to people. And I find that if they can do those 5, they can get those 5 habits going in their life, a lot of things clear up for them. So.
That's awesome. When you have some people, your niche, so I should say, the people you work with, I believe it's primarily women. And you mentioned in their later years. What do you consider later years for those who are listening?
Like over 55.
Okay.
Yeah, that's when things
really start. Not really. Hey, come on, that was a good decade.
For some people.
No,
wasn't for me.
No, yeah. Well, look at you now, right? Oh my gosh, to think all of the things you did to help heal yourself after chemotherapy and surgery, and you're an inspiration, really. You really are. Do you work with many people that have cancer?
Occasionally. It's not my focus. If they come to me, I will definitely help them, but that is not my focus. I'm really all about women our age finding out they can really live a great life and it's not a disability. A lot of women look at aging as a disability. It's not. It doesn't have to be. So that's what I try and help with. And some of that's just mindset, just changing their mindset.
Oh my gosh, that is so true. That is so, so true. We all have these limiting beliefs, don't we? The way we were raised, or, well, when we look back at our generation, and 40 was old. And now, and now I look at us, wow, they're just young chicks,
Yeah.
So it is interesting, what we were raised on. We
Well,
were raised to
patterns. Yeah.
believe, yeah.
Yes.
And now that we have all these amazing modalities to help people stay healthy, get healthy and stay healthy, it's
Yep.
been amazing. So, what program are you working on now that we can talk about coming up?
So I'm in the process of trying to build a group coaching for women in the second half of life. It's going to be a small group. I like to limit my groups to like 8 people
Wow.
so that I can really personalize things to them, and give them what they need. So it's not one of these, 5,000 people things. Because that's not me. So I really like the smaller group coaching work. Occasionally I do workshops online, but right now I'm really focused on getting this coaching group started.
Well, I'm sure you will. My goodness, this is so exciting. Everybody listen to this because when you have someone that understands the science of energy, we hear a lot about people that do energy medicine, but don't really understand the complexities of what that means, how it came from, and to have the experience of a critical care nurse who understands the body, the illnesses, and everything else. And of course, your own experience, which
Yeah,
is worth everything.
yeah.
It's such a wonderful gift to be able to give to women. So I understand you're going to offer that little,
Guide.
yeah, the guide. You're going to offer that for all the listeners.
Yeah.
Oh, this is
Free
so
free on my
awesome.
website. Yep.
That's great. That's great. So how can people get in touch with you? What mode of communication works best for you?
Um, well, I'm on WhatsApp if they want to contact me on WhatsApp, just Cherry Pfau Coaching. And I'm also, you can email me at cherry@cherrypfaucoaching.com. That's another option.
Okay.
So, and
That's
if they go on my website and put in their information, I'll automatically contact them.
okay. And we will be sure to have all of these informations and links available for our readers. And oh my gosh, everybody pick up that guide. This is awesome. I mean, you're talking to the expert here. So she's amazing. And I can't help but love her. She's been a dear friend, and I've learned a lot from her over the years. But I thank you so much, Cherry, for spending this really valuable time together to help all of our women out there to be well.
Yeah. Thanks for the opportunity to share what I do. I appreciate it.